Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Today we're going to go ahead and just get down to brass tacks. We were going to list the top 20 game-changing or account-changing champions, meaning if you're lucky enough to get just one of these champions, it will change dramatically the value of your account, how quickly you're able to farm or just complete a dungeon level that you previously had not been able to, improve your arena, your clan boss team, etc. So I have 20 champions selected, and I'm looking for specific abilities on these champions that really sticks out as, wow, this is a game changer. That's how I came up with this list. Now, I will have another list coming live maybe in about a week from now, guys, which will include champions that are free-to-play friendly, more accessible champions, but I'm not gonna lie to you guys, right out the gate, this list includes a lot of legendary champions, obviously here. I'm not, putting extra emphasis on champions who are easier to get. This will be, a pretty pay-to-win list in a lot of regards. Anyway, guys, just before we get to the list, hope you're all doing well out there. Crazy times, although I will give you a recommendation. If you like music at all, guys, I saw, it was pretty fun for those of you who grew up in the 80s and 90s like I did. I saw a Post Malone kind of live stream last night where he did a bunch of Nirvana songs, so kind of a Nirvana tribute. So that was really fun to watch if you're kind of a fan of Nirvana. He actually did a really good job with it. It was fun to watch. That's what I ended up doing last night. Anyway, guys, let's go ahead and just jump into the list of my top 20 champions. Oh, and by the way, guys, you know how I can ramble. I mean, it took me 2 minutes just to get through the preamble in today's video. So I'm going to move fast on this list. We're going to talk about why these champions are good, and then just kind of move on to the next champion. Keep things moving this video, unlike some of the others that we do here. So Valkyrie's great. She's one of the 3 champions that actually has the counterattack ability, and she has one of the best shields on the game. Stand Firm, one of her only two active abilities that she has, is just a tremendous game changer. Top 3 shield ability in the game, if not the best shield ability inside the entire game, and the highest base defense at almost 1600. Valkyrie is a beast. So next up is Prince Chimera, guys. Prince Chimera, I got so lucky. He was one of the first legendaries that I pulled in this game, and he's been a mainstay in a lot of my teams ever since then. And really because of the Seal of Magic ability, talk about a unique game-changing ability in the game. It defines that. Seal of Magic resets the cooldown of all ally skills and fills the turn meter of all allies except this champion by 20% on a 6-turn cooldown when booked, but it is Seal of Magic. There's no ability like this in the game. He also has an AoE, remove all buffs and attack all enemies, and places a sleep on his A2, poison on his A1 on an AoE. Dude, this guy's a beast. Also a 30% speed aura in the arena. Prince Chimera is just a total game-changing champion. Alright, so one of the epics I have on the list, probably going to be one of my more controversial picks because I am biased here. I own Amberle Enchantress, and I absolutely love her. She is on my main arena team. This is one of those unique champions that has one ability. She has a great, by the way, block buffs on an AoE on 100% when booked out on her A2. But her A3 is Undying Evil, such a unique game-changing ability. And again, I hate to keep repeating it. I'm probably going to repeat it a few times. Take a sip of your drink whenever I say game changer here. But Undying Evil is that. It is a game-changing ability. Again, she's my mainstay on my arena team. If you can put her in, I'm telling you guys, put her in immunity gear if you have her. And, forget about torments. You'll never have to worry about them again in the arena. Anyway, attacks all enemies, places an unkillable buff on her for 2 turns, and then she has a provoke on all enemies. So essentially, for 2 turns, she's going to be unkillable, and all enemies will be provoking with their A1s only against her. In the arena, in immunity set, this is just unbelievable ability. I love Amberle Enchantress for that reason. Next up is Mashaled. Mashaled used to suck, now he's amazing. That's why you never, ever, ever, under any circumstance, get rid of a legendary champion, even if they suck. Because he was one of the worst, if not the worst legendary, now he's one of the best in the game. On this A1 here, Bloodsucker attacks one enemy, heals his champion by 30% of the damage inflicted, and then he attacks all enemies under Leech. Now on his A2, check out this ability, guys. Check out this ability. Tornado went from just being a mediocre ability to being one of the best in the entire game. 30% speed, 30% increased crit damage, that's amazing. Places a True Fear and a Leech debuff on all enemies for 2 turns, and then grants an extra turn. Are you kidding me, Plarium? This is insane, dude. Yeah, Mashaled is a beast now, guys. He also has a pretty cool A3, open wounds, not as cool as Tornado, but you can move right from the Tornado right to the A3 because you get an extra turn. And then the A3 attacks 1 enemy, chance of stealing all the buffs, 100% when booked. It's on a 3-turn cooldown, by the way. Heal reduction, 2 continuous heals on him for 3 turns. Damage increases against targets who have no buffs. Man, Mashaled is a beast now. So you guys know I'm going to find a way to sneak in a couple of my favorites onto this list, and Stagnight is no exception. I think Stagnight and Amberle are 2 of my personal favorite champions inside the entire game. I'm really tempted to sneak in Dark Elaine because she's one of my faves too, but I'm not going to. She's a little bit too niche, maybe? But I don't know. Anyway, Stagnight is amazing because if you have Stagnight, him along with Tyrell are just elite epic champions in this game, depending on what you need. I love Stagnight because it's on his A2. He has both the decreased defense and the decreased attack that you need on a 3-turn cooldown when booked, and that is it, man. Stagnight does so well at what you need him to do. Be an amazing debuffer, all on one ability on an AoE. Stagnight is on a few, I think 3 of my main teams. Also has a pretty cool passive. Not incredible, but you know, it's a nice extra bonus to have on his kit. But yeah, he is a debuffer, and you need a debuffer on almost all of your high-end teams. Stagnight's a beast. So Bad Alcazar, you guys are familiar with Bad Al. He has a heal on his A1, not a big heal, but a small heal, but he's really known for the Malice ability. Malice ability is what allows you guys to not have to equip all your champions in lifesteal gear. You don't have to worry about lifesteal gear anymore once you have a Bad L on your team. He's one of the S tier supports inside this game, removes all debuffs, so a nice cleanser on there. Is on a 3-turn cooldown too when booked. Definitely want to book your Bad L. If you're not going to book Bad L, who are you going to book for a legendary champion, right? But he's 2 continuous heal buffs on all allies, 2 turns, and then 2 5% strong version of poisons on an AoE for 2 turns. Bad L, because of this one ability, can support your entire team and also put out a significant amount of damage, believe it or not, clan boss, dragon, or anywhere else that you choose to use him. Next up is Arbiter, one of the most well-known and most respected champions in the game. A nice high base speed at 110. She has a weaken on the A1. She has an AoE attack here on the A2, which will decrease the duration of enemy buffs. And then the abilities that she's known for are A3 and A4. Fills a turn meter by 30% and a 50% increased attack buff on all allies. And then heals allies by 25% of their max HP. What a great ability to have on a 3-turn cooldown. And then she has the AoE, if you will, Revival. And if any champion is revived, she's granted an extra turn to go ahead and maybe heal them up a little bit. So Arbiter, very well known, along with her beast mode speed aura inside the arena at 30%. So you're damn right I'm going to include Miscreated Monster on my list, guys. I love Miscreated Monster. Every time I talk about this dude, I fawn over the strength of his kit. I put him on the same level as a legendary champion. I really do, guys, inside this game. I said that Valkyrie has one of the best shields in the game. Definitely going to talk about Sir Nicholas and Miscreated Monster being the other 2 OP shield champions inside Raid Shadow Legends. Has a chance at a stun, decreased defense on his A1, has an AoE stun, and an amazing shield based off that damage on his A2, an ally protect to continuous heal on himself on his A3, and a passive places a fear debuff on the attacker for 1 turn whenever an ally is attacked while under his ally protect. He has an HP aura in the arena by 33%, not used too often, but really Miscreated Monster is a champion that you can use everywhere inside this game. Definitely a game-changing epic champion, there's no doubt about it. So Queen Ava is going to make the list, guys, and Queen Ava is interesting because when I first got Queen Ava, lucky enough to have her, I got her on one of my shard openings here on the channel. A lot of people were like, dude, she's a game changer, best speed farmer in campaign, and you know, I thought to myself at first, well, I barely even run campaign anymore. You know, I am closer to the end game, but boy was I wrong. There's so many times you just need a quick 6-second speed farmer. Well, Queen Ava's got you covered, and it's really because of her A3. I don't really use her anywhere else, but there's no better champion inside the campaign, and for that reason, I just have to include her on the list. 6 seconds through any waves of 12-3 that you could ask for. What a great speed farmer as a way to level up food or just complete your missions and quests really, really quickly. Attacks all enemies, decreases the turn meter by 20%, resets the cooldown on each of this champion's skills if any target is killed, extra 15% of inflicting a critical hit as well. So you build her out with crit damage gloves, and then boom, 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 energy drain, energy drain, energy drain, 6 seconds, speed farming complete. That's Queen Ava. I really have to include Ragland inside this list. I mean, a lot of people know how great Ragland is, but I just don't hear her name alongside, I don't know, the Bad Elves and the Valkyries in terms of the best champions overall inside the game, and I truly think she belongs there. You guys be the judge. On her A1, what a great A1 she has. Attacks one enemy 3 times, makes her immediately viable in Fire Knight. She's viable everywhere in this game, especially being a Void Affinity champion. Fills a turn meter of 3 random allies, so your allies, her allies, and by 15% on the A1. That's a great A1. Repent keeps the turn meter moving of all of your allies, right? And then on the A2, removes all debuffs from all allies and then heals them up. The heal amount is proportional to this champion's max attack, which is an interesting ability. And then on Miracle, Miracle's a great ability, and check it out, man. Revives on a 2-turn cooldown. Revives an ally with 75% HP and a full turn meter. So they go immediately. That's an insane revival. Probably the best revival, second to Arbiter inside the entire game. There's no doubt about it. Definitely the best single target ally revival in the game on Ragland. She is just an S tier support, and then she has an all battle defense on her aura. Man, that's a powerful aura to add to an already powerful kit. Ragland is a champion that you should be familiar with and probably ought to be on all of your wish lists out there, myself included. I mean, how can I not include Skullcrusher as one of the biggest game changers in the game? I have to include him just because Plarium has made counterattack such a unique ability. I would love to see Plarium go ahead and add counterattack to, you know, at least 1 or 2 more champions. Since I've started the game pretty much, it's only been 3 champions. Martyr, Valkyrie, and Skullcrusher. So Skullcrusher being the only non-legendary on that list, by default, he's added to the list. He has counterattack and an ally protect on all allies except himself for 2 turns. He's a staple of a lot of clan boss teams, especially those who don't have access to those legendary champions. So we have to talk about Krisk the Ageless. Krisk is one of the best champions inside the entire game. I might even put him in my top 5. This dude does it all. So on the A1, an AoE attack, placing the decreased speed buff for 2 turns on all enemies. On the A2, he attacks all enemies again, so another AoE. What is this guy, Bellower? Bellower on steroids, right? Way, a lot of steroids. Ally Protect, continuous heal on himself, increases the duration of all allied buffs by 1 turn, and guess what? That's right, you saw it. His damage is also based on defense. You build this guy to be an absolute tank. And then it gets even better from there. Places a provoke debuff on all enemies for 1 turn. Great crowd control. Places 60% increased defense on him, 30% increased speed on all allies for 2 turns. Dude, are you kidding me? On a 3-turn cooldown. And then his passive, it gets even better. At the start of each round, places a shield buff on all allies for 2 turns, equal to 50% of this champion's max HP. 75% of placing a decreased defense, and a decreased attack debuff on the attacker for 1 turn when hit. Oh my word, this kit is insane. So it was between Rashard the Tower and Hegemon. I decided to go with Hegemon. If anything, he is Void Affinity, so there's really no bad matchup. And Hegemon, you know, he's not meta right now. Neither really is Rashard, but it doesn't matter. He is a game changer in every sense of the word. Take another sip of your drink. And in the arena specifically, he always goes first. I mean, that fateful arrival always goes first each round, is an incredible game changer paired with his A2, an AoE 50% chance of placing a block cooldown skills debuff for 2 turns. I don't have to tell you how annoying that could be to face him inside the arena for a long time. I want to say, you know, from when he was introduced to this game throughout the next 6 months, he was the meta. He defined the meta. Hegemon is still a very valuable champion to have. So you guys know how I feel about Coldheart. She is a rare Void champion, I think the only rare on today's list, but she's just endgame viable. She's just really good. You see some of the top players, the top whales in Raid Shadow Legends still run a Coldheart, and it's because, again, of the Heartseeker ability. Decreases the turn meter by 100%, has an extra 30% chance of inflicting a critical hit, and damage increases according to max HP. That is a perfect ability for several of the bosses in this game. Spider, you can use her on Ice Golem, Fire Knight. She is just incredibly versatile in those 3 dungeons and really anywhere in the early to mid game. Coldheart is just a stud champion. So I'm going to include a champion that a lot of you probably weren't expecting to be on this list, and is Raksha. I have Raksha, and I'll tell you what, unlike Hegemon, she is meta right now. She's really good against Rotos specifically because of her multi-hitter on her A1. Attacks 1 enemy 4 times, ignores 50% of enemy defense. What an insane ability. And what's better is, check out her A2. Curse of Writhing. Attacks 1 enemy, 50% chance of placing a 25% weaken, and then a 50% chance can be booked up to 75% chance of removing 2 random buffs from the target, and then grants an extra turn. And let me tell you, this ability hits like a truck. 125k crits all over the place inside the arena. So what you do is you open with this ability, you kill the opponent's Arbiter, for example, and then you move on to Rotos, you hit with the multi-hitter on the A1, that way you can kill him in one shot with the A1. So you're killing 2 of the most valuable champions on the opponent's team, all in, well, essentially 1 turn, because you proc that extra turn after this one is used. She also has a revive on death that she puts on herself. She is one of the best sheer damage dealers inside the entire game right now. Raksha is a beast. Next up is Venus, one of the strongest champions in the game. She is Void Affinity and she does it all. She has a multi-hitter. Each hit has a separate chance at landing the strong version of poison on her A1. 50% chance too, which is really high for an A1 poison. And then she has an AoE with 100% chance of both of the big strong debuffs in this game, in decreased defense and weaken on the same attack on her 3-turn cooldown on the A2. And then an A3, which has an AoE HP burn. Just unbelievable kit here on Venus. I wish I had Venus. If Cupidus is on the same team, she has removes all buffs from all enemies, 50% chance of granting an extra turn. She becomes even more OP, and then she has an ally HP in all battles on her aura. So here he is, it's Tyrell. Tyrell is, you know, he's neck and neck with Stagnight. He doesn't have both debuffs on the same ability. On the A1, he has the decreased attack. On the A2, he has the AoE decreased defense. But unlike Stagnight, he does have the ally defense in all battles on his aura. That's a great aura, especially for an epic champion. He's the lead in a lot of clan boss teams. He's a great champion. He also has the preemptive strike, which actually puts out a decent amount of damage on the A3. Decreases target's turn meter by 50% as well. Really good champion, damage based on defense as well. So again, can put out more damage, usually depending on affinities and whatnot, than Stagnight 2, but he definitely belongs on the side of Stagnight, maybe even a little bit more on top in terms of overall power because of that aura on this list. Tyrell, a great champion to have. Next up is another insane champion here, just like they all are here in Dracomorph. Dracomorph has, just like Venus, an AoE, not an attack like Venus, but will place both of the decreased defense and weaken on all enemies for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. He also is one of the best poisoners in the game. 4 times at random, each hit places a 5% poison debuff for 3 turns. On the A1, very unique, has this surplus damage that hits for triple the damage if the first hit kills the target. That's great for dungeons as well. So Dracomorph can be used really everywhere and anywhere inside this game. I have to include Royal Guard on the list, guys, because again, the takedown ability is just so widely used. Along with the Heartseeker ability of Coldheart, it really is a game changer. It is an account-changing ability when you pull your first Royal Guard. If you have not seen 500,000 to 1.5 million damage hits against bosses, well, maybe you should try building out your Royal Guard if you're lucky enough to have one, because that's what this takedown skill does, and that's why he deserves a spot on this list. Royal Guard, just such a pivotal, such a unique and pivotal champion in terms of boss damage based on that max HP. So we're going to end the list with a 2-way tie because I had 21 champions that I couldn't choose one. I didn't have the heart to kick anybody off the list, guys. So Sippy and her groom will end this list, and what better champions to end with? She is probably the strongest champion in the game, at least in my opinion. 80% chance of placing asleep. If the target's turn meter is equal to or above 50%. If not, she'll heal all allies by 5% of her max HP. On an A1, not bad for an A1, right? And this Whirlwind Romance is one of the best abilities in the game, certainly a game changer. Fills the turn meter of all allies by 15%, then places a block debuffs, then places a increased defense, and then a 30% increased speed on a 3-turn cooldown. Thank you very much. That's insane. Thank you very much. Revives a single ally with 55% HP, and a full turn meter, places an increased attack and an increased crit rate buff on that ally for 2 turns on a 4-turn cooldown. You know what? Maybe this is in the running for the best revive. Maybe it's a 3-way tie for the best revive. What do you guys think? Love Beyond Death. And then the passive is heals each ally by 15% of their max HP at the start of their turn. 40% chance of removing freeze and fear debuffs from each ally at the start of their turn. Removes all debuffs from Rotos at the start of their turn if they're on the same team. And then you can book that up another 10% as well to remove the freeze and fear debuffs. Wow, what an ability. Increased ally resistance in all battles by 80, a great aura too for your Sippy. That's why we're starting to see more resist teams in the arena, specifically behind a tandem of Sippy and Rotos. Rotos the Lost Groom, here he is, guys. I don't need to tell you about his kit other than the one thing you need to know is he puts out insane damage. Granted, they had a small nerf on him. He no longer works in Relentless gear, but this guy, man, decreases target's max HP, then adds that HP to himself. It scales on attack first, then HP, a short cooldown, and then on the A3 attacks one enemy, ignores 75% of the target's defense, also ignore unkillable, also ignore block damage, grants an extra turn if the attack kills an enemy, has a chance of granting an extra turn, 30% chance on the A1 as well. You guys have seen it, I have seen it as well. He puts out insane amount of damage in dungeons as well as in the arena, and sometimes just goes on a killing spree. Turn after turn after turn, just keeps going, taking out and wiping the entire enemy team. His passive will decrease damage from any single enemy hit, so that incoming damage cannot exceed 50% of the champion's max HP from that hit, which is great as well, because that's going to allow him not to get one-shot by any big damage dealer, such as Raksha on the A2 inside the arena, or maybe Mountain King is a better example. So Rotos is just a really great offensive champion right now inside the game. And I lied, guys. I lied. As I was making this list in real time, I'm like, dude, we're just going to make it 22 champions, because how can I not include Tormund the Cold? I mean, he's not as much meta as he used to be, but he's still very widely used. A lot of people have him really because of his freeze ability, right? His no better crowd control champion really in the game, or at least one of the best crowd controls, because he has a chance to freeze champions every time their turn meter fills. That's insane. Not only that, but other freeze abilities in his kit, so I had to give a huge nod and expand this list to 22 champions. That is my opinion on the 22 most game-changing champions, really catered towards the mid and end game specifically on this list. Again, I will have another one of these lists focusing on more accessible and free-to-play champions coming in about a week's time. So subscribe not to miss out on that. Guys, I hope, again, I'll end on the same note that I started this video. Hopefully you're all doing well out there, thinking about you guys, hoping you're staying safe, and your family members, your loved ones, staying safe both physically and also mentally. So guys, much love, thank you for watching, and as always, take care, guys.